Hey guys, Jim here. Wanted to show you my third and final acquisition from Blade 2014 from Jeff VanderMeulen. Some of you may have watched my other videos where I showed you the full zirconium frame lock barely legal with the stainless Damascus blade, and also my other barely legal stainless Damascus, super crazy thick, black Damascus, carbon fiber, titanium, and zirconium. So I've been very fortunate to get some rather incredible knives from Jeff. And while of course I really love these two guys, because, well, shit, they're beautiful, it was this one that really struck me. This is the prototype for the upcoming Homicide. Now, you might recall that I've done a couple of videos on the Double Homicide, which was a big monster, far in excess of 4-inch, evil, wicked, mean bastard that he made. This is his scaled down, more EDC size in a 3.5-inch blade. And while I was on the books for a couple knives with him, one of them was going to be a Double Homicide. When he told me he was going to make this, and he was considering making the EDC size, I said, well, shit, I want the very first one you ever make. Switch me out from the Double, because I wanted that knife because of its blade profile, how mean and evil it looks. But it really was a knife that I kept saying over and over, it's just too big for me to really carry all that often. So here I get the same incredible look, but now in a more pocketable size. Not only do I get all that, not only is it a prototype, which makes it special, but this is also by far, and I mean by far, the strongest detent Jeff has ever done. As a matter of fact, I've actually had to bend the lock bar out a little bit just to make it a little bit easier, because it was a finger breaker when I first got it. And it was almost impossible to flip, because he knows I am really big on strong detents, and he's been working on making stronger and stronger detents throughout the evolution of his folders. So he went balls to the wall and really went crazy on the detent. So thank you, Jeff, I appreciate that, but I did have to back it off just a little touch. So here's what you're getting in here. It is a 3.5-inch, I know it looks bigger, but it really is a 3.5-inch W2 steel blade with one of the most severely contrasting Hamons that I've ever seen. It is really well done. Super mean looking. Here are the titanium handles in a nice tumbled finish. We wanted to throw a bit of color into it, so we talked about doing a custom Damascus clip, and he did it really well, of course, with his hidden hardware setup, so there's no external hardware showing. So the great thing I love about his clips, and obviously the inspiration came from his good friend Jeremy Marsh, to do clips in this style where they match the shape of the frame, and then he's matching the shape of the tip of the blade. So you're really getting a wonderfully cohesive design from front to back, any angle that you look at it. Now, he did bring this to show me at the Blade Show when I picked up my other two babies, but he didn't have time to put an edge on it at the time, so he put it out on his table to show people, where people got a chance to see his upcoming new design. Then he took it back home with him and put the final edge on it for me there, and they ended up redoing the blade to create this even deeper, richer Hamon. And I gotta tell you, the ergonomics are every bit as good as they are on the Double Homicide, just obviously a lot smaller. So you have the 4 finger choils cut into it. It's a little tiny bit cramped for my hands. Again, I wear a size large glove, so it's just a teeny tiny bit cramped, but still comfortable enough to be able to use easily. He does also recess here for a finger choil, which allows me to choke up on it and make it even more comfortable in the hand. The action on it is, again, snappy, fast. I am amazed at how his detents have progressed. Yeah, it does take a little bit of effort to get that out of there. Just as an example, my Barely Legal here has one of his more typical, very soft detents. Now, if you push button it, obviously it flips open just fine. and he's got a wonderfully smooth action in there. But he's not really out there to make the most screaming ripper flipper of a knife. He knows that that's my preference, and he was kind enough to do that. And I think he is going to be doing that a little bit more often, because he even told me at the show that he really is at the point now where he's defining the characteristics of his knives, and he's finding any little area that he can improve on. And he says his detent is one that right now he's focusing on to get that sharp and consistent from knife to knife. So I love to see a maker that doesn't just sit back and go, yeah, well, I'm so popular, everybody's talking about me, and everybody wants my knives, and they go for way more on the secondary markets. I don't really need to change anything. I'll just modify some new designs every now and then. You know, he's taking a look at everything that he does and goes, okay, how can I make it better? And that's refreshing to me. You know, there are a lot of makers that are at his level now. And again, he's still a new maker. He's only been doing this for about 1.5 years. But he's gotten to that level now that everybody wants his knives. You can't get a hold of them. And his list is very long. His books are open. He will take an order, but you're going to be waiting a considerable amount of time. But he's at that point where he doesn't really have to do all of the perfecting that he's working on. He could very easily just make the same exact knives the same exact way, and people will be content and pay the money for them. But he feels if you're going to pay a premium price, you deserve to get a premium product, and that's fantastic. And really, when you think about it, his prices aren't really out of line. We've discussed this in previous videos. He's still one of the more affordable guys that's offering, you know, handmade custom knives. So I always like to support the guys that are good for the industry, that, you know, they don't really have an ego getting in the way, that just want to make a good product, and Jeff's one of those guys. So I'm very happy to own now 3 of his knives. I have owned another one in the past, and I got to tell you, they just keep getting better. This is one that I've carried quite a bit since I got back from Blade, or actually should say since I got it back in the mail from him after Blade, and it's been fantastic. It's been a lot of fun to carry, and I am kind of cautious where I pull it out. Like, I'm not going to stand in the post office and, you know, just whip something like this out. It really has a weapon look to it. You know, it's like you can look at most of the knives that you carry and go, well, you know, this is a tool. It's a beautiful piece of art, but it's certainly going to be more of a tool. And if I pull this out, it doesn't look quote unquote dangerous to, you know, John Q. public. This is a knife that honestly just looks like it wants to kill people. I'm really happy that he didn't like put the words homicide anywhere on the knife. As a matter of fact, it's pretty sterile except for, focus, where it says prototype on the blade. That's it. His maker's mark is very simple, and there's nothing on here. Now, there are markings. I don't know if I can quite get it to focus in there and get enough light in there, but there are markings inside of the frame. But it's not like he etches the word homicide into his blade. And I always go back to the thought of when I got my first production Microtech DOC. It actually said death on contact on the blade. Probably not the knife I want to have in my pocket in the unfortunate event that I have to defend my life with it. If I can't, you know, if it gets to court, and well, prosecutors can be, they're going to pick at any little thing, and oh, well, he was out there looking to kill people because he, even on his knife, it said death on contact. It was all about, no, it was self-defense. It was stopping the threat, not, you know, the thought of killing somebody. So having a knife that says homicide on it would probably not be the best thing. So I like the fact that it doesn't actually say the word on there. It's an aggressive name for an aggressive design. It feels aggressive in the hand, and it just looks badass every which way. And we had discussed different finishes and maybe anodizing or milling or holes or something. I said, you know what, just do it the way you would want to do it, just to be a badass knife. Something simple that I'm not going to be afraid of carrying every day. Because this is a prototype. Prototypes are never perfect. It's not going to have, you know, the perfect fit and finish on every little component, because it is their working prototype. And it is a knife that the maker generally is going to carry around for a while to make sure that it's doing everything that they designed it to do. So there was no sense in making it fancy and flashy and pretty. My other two do that just fine. So he went with a very simple stone wash on the frames, and we just wanted to doll it up with a little bit of color. And it really does look impressive because this is a massive clip. When this is sitting in your pocket, this monstrous clip that's about probably 3.25 inches sticking out of your pocket, it looks really, really cool. So for me, this is kind of the all-around perfect knife. You know, I've been collecting into various different styles of knives in the past 2 years. Some I buy with the intention of them being as beautiful and pretty as they can be. Some that are very basic, down to business, kind of working looking knives. And ones like this that kind of do both. And I feel very fortunate to have gotten to the point in my collection that I have, where I've got something that basically represents all of the different styles of knife making that I enjoy. This is certainly covering all those bases. It's a workable looking knife, enough to the point where I can carry it every day and not really worry about it. I don't give a shit if I bang it up a little bit. It's got a very mean, evil look to the blade, to the Hamon, to the grind, everything. It's a flipper. I tend to prefer flippers. It's a frame lock. I love frame locks. It's got a little bit of trick to it because it's got the hidden hardware for the clip, so there's a little bit of additional knife-making details or knife-making prowess being displayed there, above and beyond being just a typical basic folding knife. And it fits into that size range that I like the best. My favorites are between 3.5 and 3.85 inch. That's it. That's where I like to be. Will I buy larger or smaller? Yes, but will I tend to carry them as often? No. This is really in my sweet spot. And while it is a 3.5 inch, it really looks and feels quite a bit larger. And yeah, it's got that dominating look to it, so it's got some attitude. And I kind of like that. So I just wanted to share this with you. I don't want to make it a tremendously long video. I've certainly made enough videos about Jeff VanderMeulen. You know my thoughts on Jeff, the quality of work that he does, the type of person that he is. And I enjoy spending my money with people that, that really care about the customer's overall satisfaction at the end of the day. So these will obviously not be the last VanderMeulens that you'll ever see on my channel. So there you go, guys. There is my VanderMeulen collection. I'm very happy with where it sits right now. May it evolve over time? Possibly. Might I trade one for another, or sell one, then buy another, or just commission a new build? Absolutely. And I'm interested to see where Jeff is going to go over the next few years. What kind of designs is he going to morph into? Are we going to see maybe a gentleman's folder out of him? Maybe we're going to see something in a completely different genre. I don't know, but I'm excited to see where he takes his talents in the future. And as he works to hone his skill and to define his style and to clean up all of the little things, because you go back, you look at his first knives to the knives he made 6 months ago to the knives he makes now, and you see a cleaner design. You see better attention to detail on the finer details, better lockup, better detents, and just more cleaned up overall. I'm interested to see where he goes over the next couple of years. So Jeff, thank you, my friend, for everything. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to own this great prototype. It's something that I really enjoy carrying and having with me. And yeah, the edge is great on there, by the way. It's cut down quite a bit of shit lately. So thanks for all your hard work. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. And I'll be back on the next video.